Bonjour and welcome to Behind the Mic Live. This week, my guest is a business strategist. She's the founder and business coach of Wild Harmony. Please welcome to Behind the Mic Live, Ligia Buzan. How are you?
Thanks, G. It's a pleasure to be here. Don't we just want to be the stars? Always. So
Yes,
here's my
yeah.
opportunity. Right. So, G, thank you for the invite. I want to point out one thing that fascinates me about your business.
Okay.
And I find an application of that in my business as I help women entrepreneurs grow their businesses and have solid revenue. Because what's a business without revenue?
Right.
So that is the concept of owning your voice. I love it. Throughout my childhood, I was so afraid of my voice. Like I would not even sing happy birthday. I thought my voice was the most horrible voice
Really?
ever. Yes.
Why? Why?
It's not a, I don't know, it's not a logical thing. It's
Okay.
something
Okay.
that I think a lot of people have it when they listen to themselves, like, oh, this person. Anyway, my question before we start, just to make
Okay.
a nice bridge between your show and my business, I
Okay.
want to know, how do you think about voice? What do you do with people to help them love their voice? Literally, of course, and metaphorically. I'm talking about your voice in business, but physical
Okay.
voice. What kind of gifts you give people? What kind of tips to really own their voice on stage?
Oh wow! So you're interviewing me now. Okay, so
Well,
we're
nice.
flipping the table here. Okay, no, yeah, this is a great question. I think a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of artists in the music industry, and when they hear themselves first on an album or recording, or especially on radio, they're like, do I really sound like that? And a lot of clients, a lot of coaches, entrepreneurs, when you first hear your voice, it it takes time, I think, because um we hear different characteristics in our voice than what we think other people do. In the same way, um when we look in the mirror, we see the flaws that we have that other people don't see. So I think the same thing can be if you're not familiar with what your voice really sounds like, and how to create the tone and the signature sound you want. I think, but that's so. When did you get over that fear, though? Because you're talking great today, like.
Do you know? Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing to hear your voice when you speak, and a different thing to hear your voice in a performance, like
Okay.
even on a recording on your phone.
Okay.
But the other thing is that I love music. So I sing along a lot of my favorite stars. I sing along, and that I think without having training, it allows me to tap into qualities of my voice that I didn't even think they were there. That doesn't mean that I am a singer. That means that I still am horrified to sing, especially in public, but I am a shower singer. So, yeah. Yes. This brings us to the issue of, practicing and trusting yourself and
Yeah.
desiring to practice.
Yeah.
So thank you for those tips. I am absolutely fascinated by your business and really thrilled to be here in this
Oh,
context
thank
because I
you.
want to
Thank
talk
you.
about show. I want to talk about
Yes.
performance in building a
Yes.
business.
So who is Ligia?
Oh, gee, I thought you'd never ask. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, no. Look, I would love for people to ask this question more often. I,
Okay.
I, I would love for people to say, well, tell me about you, a little bit
Hmm.
about you. And it's a hard question because you don't know where to start.
Hmm.
But in the context of what we do here, I want to share a couple of things about me
Okay.
that are truly important to me. One is that it's a red thread through my life. I love creative work. And
Okay.
I love the adventure of bringing one's creative gifts into the world. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the wealth we get through that experience is well beyond money. It's
Mm-hmm.
owning our desires, it's owning our time
Mm-hmm.
and our money. I think this is an extraordinarily important point for a woman in particular, for everybody, of course, but I work with women.
Mm-hmm.
And I love ballroom dancing and I love tango. And I know. And
Creative expression.
I think it is a creative expression, and I think it's very frightening too. So I remember being coached by my first tango teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and he liked me enough to give me the hard truth. He said, "Stop exploding your energy over a stage. Focus it in your heart. This is
Mm.
from the heart. The focus is in the heart. Economy of movement." And I think that I take his advice even now, 20 years later,
Mm-hmm.
to apply it in building a business, in entrepreneurship. It's
Right.
economy of movements. Don't go all over the
Right.
place. Just
Have a
work
focus.
with the exactly work with the process. Have the discipline
Mm-hmm.
to practice and apply that process.
Yeah.
Um, and now I work with women entrepreneurs to help them build businesses that support their lives, businesses that bring consistent revenue. But there is a creative aspect to it, and there is more than that because entrepreneurship tests us both as a leader, as a spiritual person.
Mm.
It's a difficult and it's rewarding path. A lot of people live their myth through,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, art, personal myth, art, or maybe science, or whatever
Okay.
the gift
Okay.
is, through
Okay.
love, um, healing. My personal myth comes alive through entrepreneurship, through discovery, through building and creating something.
Okay. So how did you go from, you know, deciding, like there must have been a moment in your life where there was a crossroads and you had to make a decision. Like how did you go from because I know you have a PhD, you have a lot of education, you have a lot of background behind you. How did you face that fork in the road and decide to start your coaching business?
Yeah, thank you. Well, there are many forks in the road, and too often, we take the road that other people take, and not enough the road not taken.
Well
I
said. Yes.
I have to say that for me, there were many, many crossroads. But
Okay.
if you ask me how is it that I'm coaching today,
Mm-hmm.
Um, first, I want to say that I've been coaching throughout my entire career. The focus in my career has been on building, always building businesses,
Okay.
using, let's say, sales, marketing. In 2020, I had decided after I built a startup that I helped launch and build it. I decided that I wanted to work with individuals. There were a few people who came to see me,
Okay.
ask for my help. And it was a kind of an organic movement. I saw it more like a portfolio of ventures that I'm nurturing and supporting as coaching in itself. I'm coming at it from a different perspective.
Okay.
Um, but I have also, taught leadership at C Executive Suite in for the Massachusetts School of Professional Psychology for several
Okay.
years in their PhD program on leadership psychology. So that happened for a couple of years, and that was 10 years ago, where I really had to get really deeply into coaching and leadership and understanding what are the tenets of what it means to move people from a stuck place to a
Okay.
place of success. Yeah.
Okay. So how did you, I mean, you're the founder and business coach of Wild Harmony. Tell me more about Wild Harmony is and how people can be part of it.
I'll be happy to, but let me ask you something. When you hear wild harmony, what's your first reaction?
Mm, I
What
don't
the
know.
hell is that?
Well, well, okay. Coming from the music side, when I hear harmony, I think of like unity.
Okay.
I think of like chorus and rhythm and harmony, and wild as being like passionate, like you're very in a positive way, emotional about bringing people together. That's
I
what I
love
think.
that. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think the vision that I had is quite similar. I was thinking of wild as, the inner desires of so many
Mm,
women that I talk to.
yes.
They're unlived gifts. So many women, entrepreneurs have told me, look, I want to do what I love doing. I have this gift. I want to bring it into the world. I don't know how to do that. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to own my life, basically, my
Mm,
time. How do I do
yes.
that? Is there a process to do that? And I wanted to express the process through the world, through the word harmony,
Mm,
because harmony to
yes.
me is aligning all these wild, untamed, amazing creative gifts that women have, align them with the structures that
Hmm.
they need, the social, financial, business
Right.
structures that they
Right.
need in order to succeed in their business. There is a rhythm to it. G, I
Rhythm. See.
agree. I look at the process for business as having a rhythm. A
Mm,
rhythm, so
we.
in other words,
We.
I know we're using metaphors, but I think metaphors are really important because they
Very
help us
powerful.
convey quite fast what we want to
Yes.
say. And to convey something, we don't want to keep repeating old concepts. I could talk about revenue and about client generation, lead generation, but I think there is a little bit more that can come through a metaphor. And then we can go to this word.
Right. Like you're saying, dancing and singing and harmony and things. It's all about having that, taking your business and having it make movement and
That's
having
right.
this
I
rhythm,
actually love
right?
what you say. I love it.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because think of it through the tension between two opposites, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
how you create movement, right? You hold it together, the
We.
tension, and you're moving it. And
Mm-hmm.
the wild and the harmony are opposites. The same
Mm,
way with artists. Yes, there is a piece where you practice, rehearse, you're not sure, you're doubting, you get into the gritty of it. And then there's the piece of the performance where you're moving it into the
yes.
world, into the connection with the audience.
The
I
energy
think
connects. I see this with
that's right.
artists all the time. They spend weeks and months rehearsing, practicing every note they're going to sing and say and everything in a rehearsal room to no one. But the real magic, and it was magic, happens when they get on stage and they're presenting their message, their songs, and the audience is on the same frequency. And it's that energy. So I think, yeah, I think this is great branding too. I think Wild Harmony is all about bringing together these, powerful women that there's something missing. There's a missing piece of the puzzle. There's something missing, and you are guiding them on this journey. That's what I
Look,
think.
I think there are lots of business strategies and lots of business coaches, a lot of business of coaches. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that we have to trust our own gifts as a
Mm-hmm.
coach. We
Mm-hmm.
have to have a specific framework, technology, but also to bring our true self into the process. That's what is going to make it unique.
Right.
So whatever is missing in the world, I don't know, but I know what I can bring to the
What you can
process, and
bring to it.
and
Yes.
I need to trust that. And what you were saying was so exciting because it is in bringing together these dualities, these
Mm-hmm.
opposites of rehearsing really hard and then coming on stage and letting go of all that's in your head and letting
Yes.
it work through you and let that energy connect you to people. That performance is indeed magic. And as a coach, you want to make sure that when people have their foundations right in business, then now they trust them to themselves to go out and say, here I am rocking like a hurricane, you know.
Rocking like a, I knew you were going to say that. I was like, yes, I
You
just,
knew? Oh
and
my God.
now
Now you can read my mind.
everybody watching this show now has Rocky Like a Hurricane in their mind, especially if they're in our age. So I want to know, you have a process that we're going to talk about today. You have two ways to build your business. I want to know more about this process
So
that you
I
have.
would call, I mean, just staying with this two aspects of the process sometimes
Okay.
may seem to be opposites. I will call them, for simplicity's sake, the two P's. One is process,
Two
and
P's.
the other one is performance. Now,
Okay.
you absolutely need to have the process, just like an
Mm-hmm.
artist needs to rehearse, make touch on the right notes.
Mm-hmm.
And that process in business is quite straightforward, even if not followed through. That process means that you have a strong foundation where you know very clearly what you offer and
Mm-hmm.
why, what unique, in other words, your positioning.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know very well who the clients you serve are, and then you understand how to engage them, how to message whatever is unique about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a grasp on delivery of consistent, repeatable results. Now, this may seem like boring words, but I have learned a long time ago that one needs the discipline of going
Right.
through these pieces one by one in
Right.
order to have the freedom
Right.
then to trust themselves to perform that in the world, to speak freely about what they do and why it matters. you
Right.
know so about the process, I want to come back to the word that I really loved. You said rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is a rhythm to it. It means to
Mm-hmm.
be repeated a number of times to get it
Mm-hmm.
right. Now, a lot of people improvise, to stay with the metaphor of show, improvise,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and what I see they get is a drip system,
A
like
drip
one
system. Okay.
client at a time, one client that comes from God knows where, maybe a referral, maybe they heard about you, but you never know what is your system. So I
Hmm.
want to get people to have a constant stream of clients and revenue, because if you don't get revenue in your business immediately, as fast as possible, immediately doesn't mean tomorrow, but
Right.
as
Right.
fast as possible, then you're not going to be able to be in business, and you're going to feel crushed and your dreams are going to die. And I don't want to see that.
Right.
And a lot
Right.
of women come to me with a revenue issue. They say, I have a revenue problem. And they say, no, revenue is not a problem. Revenue is an indicator. It
Indicator. Yeah.
shows you there is a problem that must be resolved through process. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you an example. Last year, I had a new client who came to me, and she stopped having revenue for the past 6 months. She was very proud of her, let's call it primary offering, what she's always offered.
Okay.
And, she was offering this to corporate clients, and they used to love it. And then nobody bought it. And, there is a tendency that people have when something doesn't work to keep pushing harder, you
Okay.
know and people dread the words stop what you're doing. Start by stopping what you're doing. Look at what is not working. So, through some analysis and assessments, we realized that there were all sorts of tender, shy inquiries about a secondary offering that she was not very delighted about. And
Okay.
she was
Okay.
not interested in offering. She felt it was not really. But then, we repackaged that and she offered it, and she listened. She listened
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
the call, to the sound, and she
Okay.
built a very successful business. But, this is the place where you're like adaptive. You're looking, you're understanding, you're paying attention to what is asked, to where the market is moving. So that's one example about the process.
Yeah, it sounds like having so many music artists have released the record label thought this would be the song back in the day. I mean, I don't know, we're of the same generation, but remember vinyl records and even back in the day of 45s, they used to release a song and then they'd put another one on the B side. Well, some of the biggest songs that we know now today were songs that were on the B side, and somebody at a radio station flipped the record over and said, well, I don't like this song, but let me try this one. And the B side, that's how, see, everything I hear becomes music. But I see, like, that's the connection there, is that you're bringing that out of them. They think that, offer A is what it is. Offer A is, and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And you come in and say, well, why don't you look at it from a different perspective? And then, see, the talent's the same, but sometimes the way it's presented to the audience. And that brings up the second P is...
The second P is performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. This is not to pay lip service to what you're doing, but I truly believe it. I've been fascinated with the etymology, the root of the meaning of the word performance. And I learned that in Old English around 1300s, it meant to carry on, to deliver, to finish something. But then by Middle English, like 1600s, it started to mean to produce, to build something, and to accomplish one's dreams. Apparently, was using that.
Okay.
And I really love that, because I think you can have the process in place, everything done right process-wise, but if you do not own that process and bring it into the world and embody your work and sell your work and trust your connection to your audience, nothing worthwhile is going to happen in terms of business and revenue. So often I like to use a water metaphor for business, because water is accessible, yet it has different rules than the land. And a lot of women who come from former jobs, corporate jobs, they're used to having very strong ground under their feet. That meaning a paycheck, meaning support that of their team, other people to do things, right? I hear this a lot. And then they find themselves in water. Now, water offers a lot more freedom than the earth. However, it can also give death if you're not knowledgeable of these rules, if you don't understand how to deal with water rules. So when you are an entrepreneur, the expectations are different than when you work a corporate job. You respond to what is needed by your market. You need to be attentive. You need to do a million things that you have not done yourself before. And it's doable, but it also requires that discipline that I mentioned,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you help them, guide them on, okay, let's put together a process. This is how you're going to run your business. And then here's the performance aspect.
Well, that's correct. The process also means that we need to test some business models. We need to validate some assumptions. We
Market
need to
research. You got to test it, right? Like, get it out there and put,
That's right. So for the future, there's a lot of manual work right now. So I'm tapping into various conversations on my clients' businesses or niches from YouTube or LinkedIn. And right now I am collaborating with other women entrepreneurs to be able to create, using AI, ways to tap into this conversation so that it becomes a more easy to access, more streamlined, and with other women entrepreneurs to help my clients to automate some tasks using AI to become more efficient. These are also aspects of the process. Not all women are there yet in their business, because before we go fast, we have to go slow. But basically, yes, process. And the performance is like, really do not choke before you go on stage. That I hear so often. I know I say this to myself too. It is easy to do. I have entrepreneur who tell me all the time that they feel intimidated, for instance, to bring an offer to a CEO. They feel sometimes ashamed to offer offer something that they put all their heart into to a corporation because they feel ashamed that they have not yet had the
Oh,
success
wow.
or the revenue in their business to warrant that offer, and they feel maybe I'm an imposter here. If
Oh,
they
wow.
just knew how little I actually make, under 100K. So no, you can go ahead and trust that. And then part of the work for me is to give them the right frameworks,
Hmm.
to give them the right sales frameworks, and to remind them, that whatever is within us, unless it's really owned and
Mm-hmm.
we become aware, it manifests outside in the world. So I had really wonderful successes with women who just own that part, the performance part, so to speak, their sales part,
Yeah, yes.
their ability to present and trust their offer.
Mm-hmm.
And, they are doing brilliantly now. So I love to see that.
So let's talk about your clients. What are 3 qualities that you look for in your ideal client?
Well, I would say probably the first one is desire.
Desire.
It's a desire, it's a deep seated desire to express their talents, to have agency, to bring
Okay.
their creative signature into
Mm-hmm.
the world, and to offer their expertise.
Okay.
It's my experience that will, which is how
Will.
ambition, will as ambition
Ambition. So
goes.
desire is number 1. Ambition is
No,
number
no,
2?
no, no, no.
Oh.
Actually, what I'm saying is that desire versus ambition. So I'd rather
Ah.
work with somebody that has desire, because when things go very hard, we tap into will, push it harder into ambition. And that doesn't
Ah.
take us too far. But, if it comes back to what matters, that's going to
Mm.
nourish and nurture what we want to do. And this is going to keep us last longer.
Okay.
Now, the second thing I find to be extremely important is to be adaptive.
Adaptive.
Right?
I
To
like
be
it.
adaptive means that you're constantly paying attention and you're willing to change, and you're
Mhm.
not, digging your heel in and say, this is who I am or nothing else, because what you want to do, you want to serve your business and you want to serve your clients. And that requires a little bit of, change at times.
Right. Being open to change. Being open to
Yes.
having different. Yes.
So in service of being adaptive, what I bring to clients is the ability to make the universal personal. The universal is, these are the rules, this is a process, this is what worked for other people. To
Okay.
make it into your unique business success, but for that, you have to be adaptive. Yeah.
Okay.
And the third may
Mm-hmm.
not seem important, but it is to be willing to be coached, to be
Willing
coachable.
to be coached. Yes. Oh, yes. Continue with that. I think it's actually one of the most important things. I think you have to have that understanding. Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
that's all I want to
Yeah.
say about it, because I think everybody understands very well that you can come to a coach and you say, no, this is how I'm doing things and I'm not going to change, but please coach me. And that really is not going to work. Like, it's a collaboration. And each coach and coachee need to come together into a relationship that honors life and it honors each other's gifts. And it's
Yep.
really important to come into that relationship with life if you want to build something, a business in this case.
All right, so let's change this up. I love the whole music vibe. We've got harmony going, we got dancing and singing. So I want to know, who is your favorite rock star?
Okay. I bet you can't guess.
I don't know. You give some hints. What is it? A band? Is it a solo artist? What kind of
Okay,
music?
so okay. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna
We'll
hold.
play along. We got time. Yeah. What? Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
It's Janis Joplin.
Oh, oh, wow! I kind of forgot about her.
I
Like,
know. That's
I
fine. That's
mean,
fine.
like, I know Tina Turner and Adele and her.
No,
Janis Joplin. Okay, tell me
I
more. Tell
I
me more.
adore Janis Joplin. I mean, when you
Wow.
hear her he's a mezzo soprano. When you hear the way she vocalizes, the way she expresses the pain, it's a spirit of times, right? It's before 1970s, but I
Wow.
find it that I deeply resonate with her. You know,
Wow.
I,
Wow, that's
if
going
you,
way back into the catalog. I mean, like, yeah, like I don't
if
know.
you
I mean, maybe I'm not. I remember her, but I don't. I didn't grow up.
No, I didn't
Didn't
grow
grow
up
up
with her
listening
either,
to her. Yeah.
but
Okay, I know. But
if you hear "Summertime" or "Cry Baby" and
yeah,
"Down Me," or you hear "Me and Bobby McGee," and it
yeah,
feels extraordinarily relevant to
yeah.
me today. This is a personal reflection, obviously, today, as it feels, for instance, to listen to Amy Winehouse. And I'm sorry to bring two brilliant
Oh,
women
oh wow.
performers who
Yeah.
both died at 27. Um,
Wow.
but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
what really is extraordinary to me, the ability to encapsulate what other people feel and to
Yes.
give them a way to feel it deeply.
Yes.
I constantly think about this when I work with people, because I think it's one of the most important gifts you can have is when you work with others.
Wow. Yeah, Janis Joplin. Okay, now I've got to go into iTunes and or Spotify and listen to Janis Joplin today. So I want to know more about how can people work with you? What's the best way to get in contact with you? What's the best way to work with you?
Well, thank you for saying that. So first, I just want to say I'm offering a something new that's limited to only 5 people. It's a
Okay.
intensive. This is because I want to honor this show now. It's a one-on-one intensive 1 month coaching to
Okay.
look at your business foundation, your offer, your client, your sales, your delivery, and
Okay.
make sure that you actually get to make money and you make revenue. Um, I think of it as a sort of intermittent training where you get quick results. You look at what's happening in spurts of energy. And I've been inspired to do this from Google's moonshot. I've been part of some, you work with a
Hmm.
group of people really intensely for a period of time. It's a lot that
Okay.
comes up. I'm also doing this because a lot of people think of coaching as being something that they can't afford. And they
Hmm.
say, well, first I'll make revenue and then I'll pay for coaching. But that's
It's
the
the opposite. It's yeah. Go ahead. Continue.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is not to say that people who do not know that they need to invest should apply. I'm saying that people who
Right.
are on the sidelines not knowing what coaching can do for them have an opportunity to do that. So this is happening intensely, and my hope is that people will actually see whatever is not working gets resolved, so they actually can enjoy um, the revenue they make. And if they need to make decisions in the future of what coaching does for them, they can do
Hmm.
it from a place of knowing, having the tools, and having the revenue to invest in coaching later. you know
Yes, yes. And one thing I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is I learned this in the music industry too. We'd have people that would come into the show, and they're. I mean, no one wants to tell anybody this, but there's coaches that teach people how to perform on stage, how to talk to an audience, how to
Mhm.
look, how to hold a guitar. And they would come in and make adjustments to the show, and then the artist would go back out on tour, and it just popped. So with your business, you need to have Ligia with you to have that perspective. Seriously, to have a different perspective. Like you said, the A side may not be working. You flip it over to the B side, and there you got like this great offer. So yeah, I want everyone to get in contact with you,
Thank
follow you
you.
on LinkedIn, sign up for
Thanks.
your program.
Thank you. I want to say one thing. I think of this intense. It's called revenue transformation
Okay.
coaching for a month. As a French have a say that goes like something like this: take a step back so you can jump higher. So
Oh,
it's an
we.
opportunity. Reculer pour mieux sauter.
There's. Oh, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. That's messaging right there. That's actually branding right
Okay, it's
there.
not mine, but anyway,
Oh, it
it's
is.
it's
It is. Okay. Yeah.
it's important. So I right now work with clients one-on-one on
Okay.
longer periods of
Okay.
time to make sure that they get well. And at different levels, they need to go higher. So somebody who has, I don't know, like up to 350, 400,000 revenue, that they want to jump to the next level and so on.
Okay.
But in this case, this is for a limited period of time.
Okay.
They can go on my LinkedIn profile. There's the link they can click and learn more.
Okay.
And I'm offering it for a month starting May 8th to June 18th. And during that period of time, they can schedule,
Okay.
if anyway, we can talk about that if they're interested. But basically, it's quite limited. And I want to do that in the name of performance, you know,
We,
to the
yes,
people who are listening today.
dance and have harmony and just creative expression and look at your business in an entirely different way.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I love this. This was awesome. And I want to give a special shout out to Coach Kate Ladon, who introduced us. So thank you. And thank you, Ligia, for being here today. This is awesome. I'm really excited to see what is a journey in the future.
Gee,
And
it's an extraordinary pleasure to know you as a person, as a
oh, thanks.
friend,
Thanks.
and
Thanks.
as a host. And yes, Kate Ladon is quite fantastic. She understands everything brand, and she
Yeah.
has been very supportive. And I really love the community we're forming. So yes, this is
Yeah.
important too.
Yeah. It just shows me more of what a coach, why coaches need
That's right.
coaches.
That's
Artists have
absolutely
coaches.
true. Absolutely
Entrepreneurs have
true.
coaches. Everybody has people they confide in, people they talk to that even if it's just a 5-minute
Yes.
meeting to look at it differently. You have to have, yes.
Nothing sweeter than have the gaze of somebody who cares about you and gives you attention to improve. I love
Yeah.
that. So thank
Wow.
you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love this feeling of being a star in your show, even for a short time. Thank you.
Cheers. Okay. Well,
Cheers.
thank you,
Cheers.
everybody.
Cheers, Micah.
Here. Yes, yes. It's mountain. It's a Sprite today. So,
Thanks, G.
all right.
And
Thank you. All right. We'll see you guys until next week. Ciao. Cheers.
thank you. Bye.
Okay. Cheers.
Mm.